report and their annual plans being approved by the police. The Chinese government claimed that this is to ensure that these NGOs do not subvert the country. Now, why would the Chinese government worry that these foreign NGOs would do anything harmful to China? Perhaps because the Chinese control groups are doing exactly this in our countries. Beijing backed numerous front organizations, civil societies in Western society. These groups act as an extension to the party and state apparatus. They're oftentimes mobilized to influence local election results or policies in the West. These groups are controlled directly by the United Front Department and the Office of Overseas Chinese. But these connections are often concealed from the public. Now let's look at another example. In 2016, Chinese government banned the talk of democracy, universal human rights, rule of law in Chinese classrooms and curriculum. That is a clear signal that the Chinese Communist Party sees the Western value as a threat to its ideology and its view on the importance of indoctrinating its youth on the right political view. While Western ideas are not allowed into Chinese classroom, Western universities have ceded control of their own program to the Communist Party through Confucius Institute. The Confucius Institute presents itself as a non-profit language program, but is actually directly controlled by the Communist Party, including its propaganda ministry. A senior communist official has said that the Confucius Institute is an important part of China's overseas propaganda effort. Yet these institutes are embedded in hundreds of universities in the West, raising troubling questions on academic freedom and freedom of expression on university campuses. The story is similar in entertainment and media area. China obsessively censors the internet. It only allows a small number of foreign films into the country each year, carefully screened, carefully edited. Even children's animated film like Zootopia is attacked as Western propaganda. Now, the situation in the West is vastly different. New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, Telegraph, these papers all run paid news supplements from China Daily, a communist mouthpiece. Companies with deep ties with the Chinese Communist Party are now buying or entering joint ventures with major Hollywood studios, creating strong financial incentive for self-censorship. Chinese companies already own some of the biggest movie theater chains in the West. Now they get to control what the Western audience get to see or not to see, what is getting to produced, what not. It's increasingly unlikely that we will see a film that is produced about the Cultural Revolution, the Tiananmen Massacre, Tibetan, Falun Gong, or Uyghurs in the Hollywood. Now, one may say that our democratic and open Western values are more resilient than Chinese brutal authoritarianism. I wish that were true, but it isn't. Lured by self-interest, our institutions are proven all too willing to give up human rights and free speech. Western companies know that their technology are helping the Chinese government to surveil its own system through an infamous social credit system. Yet they still deal with them. We all know that Huawei's 5G technology is a Trojan horse that will affect our future, our children's future. But yet, we just signed a deal with them. Our values are already compromised. Our way of life is already conceded. But let me remind you that the human rights atrocities, the injustice that are happening within Chinese border cannot be contained. It will bleed out to every silent bystanders in the world. And the coronavirus outbreak is a perfect example of that. On December 1st, Chinese government has already discovered the first case of coronavirus in Wuhan. Yet the local officials spent the first period of time suppressing the news, arrested 8 courageous doctors for, quote, spreading rumor and destabilize the society. The local government even went as far as hosting 100,000 people to a public Chinese New Year dinner, just to show that Wuhan is as prosperous as ever and as safe as ever. This is reminiscent of what happened in Chernobyl.